Why this restaurant and why on Savile Row?
Well, you know, Savile Row, 295 years, has never been an official restaurant on the row. I've always shopped there when I started to do okay for myself and could afford to shop on the road, so I started to be able to go down there, got to know a lot of the tailors really well, and then we got approached for a small space, an old tailor shop, which we can then convert into what we call a legacy restaurant. We really wanted to be a restaurant what would stand the test of time, what would go hand in hand with the row. We use Bennett and Witch leather for our menus, we use Cat and the Dandy for our uniforms for the front of house staff, we use just up the road there, our guy does all of the smoking jackets for people that go outside, Daniel Henderson. So we really try to embody everything what's great about Savile Row. And I think, you know, the most proud thing for me, I think, when we can walk away one day and, you know, pass it on to the next generation, that Row on 5 will become, you know, it will go down hopefully it will go down as an iconic restaurant, you know.
It's difficult, I imagine, because restaurants, there's a lot of openings. I mean, you're one of the most celebrated and famous chefs, but yeah, I guess tastes are fickle, or popularity of restaurants are fickle. What's the secret sauce of doing, you know, a restaurant that lasts?
Do you know what? I mean, if there's no such thing as the secret sauce in our business. Some restaurants just catch the moment right. You know, we've opened 4 restaurants in the last 5 months. We opened a restaurant called Sale in Piccadilly Circus, which is going gangbusters. You know, it's really affordable. It's a beautiful space. You know, wine's under 50 quid. And the whole of London's just taking it to its heart. It's been well reviewed, and it's just going gangbusters. So there's, you know, although our industry has not been invested as much in the last few years, certainly I believe the future's bright for London. I think that we will continue to develop restaurants what world class, and I think London will always be one of the best cities in the world to dine out. It's just, you know, navigating restaurants and guests' taste buds are really tricky, and you've got to live and breathe the restaurants.
Jason, because tastes are changing, because people like go to restaurants and consume differently than they did pre-COVID, or even.
Oh, you know, as you get older, and I'm 53 now. As you get older, you know, when we opened Pollen Street 14 years ago, Pollen Street was an instant success. It was absolutely so busy, and all of a sudden, you know, you 2 generations of customers have gone through your restaurants, and you know, you start to see other restaurants opening up and what they're offering and stuff, and it's very easy to stay with something when it's a success story, unless it's iconic like Berners Tavern, which is one of our iconic restaurants, which stays exactly the same and is fully booked every day, and that's you know, that's an iconic restaurant. But you know, it's City Social here in the city also. That's pretty much stayed the same in 11 years. It's been fully booked. People love it here. It's our, you know, one of only 2 restaurants in the city with a Michelin-starred, and it's so we're very lucky.
Do people go out more but spend less?
Exactly what's happening, Francine. So all the data, all the research we did, people were going out more today. I'm talking like the new generation of diner. They want to go out more. They want to spend less. So the restaurants what are adapting to that are the ones what are winning right now, and that's got to be the key. And the key is to have really good landlords. That's number one. The lesson number one. You have to work with your landlord. The landlord's got to be, if he doesn't favour what you're trying to do, then you'll never succeed. No. Because if you're going to get aggressive rent increases every 5 years, then the concept eventually will just fade out and fall over. No. You know, you've got to make sure you keep on top of staff costs. Staff costs are one of the biggest killers in our industry. You know, with Labour announcing that our minimum wage goes up again in April. Although we're very adamant to pay our staff as much as we possibly can, as fair as we can, we also have to stay in business, right? And with spending going down and costs going up, there's got to be a point where the tipping balance doesn't work anymore. Yep. So you've got to really work hard. It's the classic 425s, right? So 25% food and beverage, 25% overheads, 25% staff costs. And in the good old days, it was 25% profit. Now those margins are squeezed down to like 11, 12% if you're lucky. So it's tough in our industry right now. But, you know, if you love it and you're passionate about it, guests feel that. Yeah. And it's what I do. It's in my veins. I love cooking. I love making people happy. And that's what we do.
Is it easy to find staff, or is it
much better? Post-COVID was horrendous, like
because
really
people stayed at
horrendous.
home, or did they just? Or
I just think it took a long time for the country to wake up, right? I think globally. I mean, we had a really successful restaurant in New York City called the Clock Tower, had 1 Michelin star, and we just couldn't get it working again after COVID. So we just had to shut it. It was, you know, there was a lot, you know, at the pandemic, you know. killed a lot of our industry off, but we're a resilient bunch. You know, we all came back fighting, and I feel now London's as good as it's ever been. And we hope that, you know, Three Darlings in Chelsea, what we opened up just a month ago, 2 months ago, sorry, on Pavilion Road. What's
been your hardest moment? Like, is there a day where you kind of thought, actually, you know, I love what I do. It's like you live and breathe this, but is there a day where you kind of thought, actually, I'm not getting enough support from government, I'm not getting enough support from landlords?
I think the hardest moment was we were about 3 months into the pandemic, and we just got furlough, which you're also paying the tax and stuff, right? So we got furlough for the staff, which was the most important thing. Then me and my wife had enough, because she's my business partner as well as my life partner, we had enough money in the bank to last us 18 months. A lot of people fired their staff, laid them off, got rid of them, and let the government take care of them. We took the stance of, we're going to pay everybody, we're going to pay all of our staff till the money runs out, and just hope and pray that we've done the right thing. And I've got to say, 3-4 months in, you know, you've worked your whole life, right, from coming to London at the age of 16, washing pans, you know, learning to be a cook, with no desire to be a Michelin chef. That was never the plan. It was just to learn to cook, go back up north and open a little restaurant and support my family. That was the plan. Obviously, life had other things in store for me. And then you think, my God, I've worked tirelessly, 6 days a week, 18 hours a day. We've finally got success. We live in a nice home. Kids go to a lovely school. We've got some form of success, and it's all just been taken away. I mean, look, it's no one's fault. It was what it was, right? But it was a really hard pill to swallow. But, you know, after a couple of days of, you know, self-pity, people had it much tougher than me. People were passing away, not seeing their parents and all that type of stuff. So I just gave myself a kick up the bum and got back on the horse, and we came out the other side, and we survived, right?
But you're still, I mean, this year you're opening 5, but you had to also close 3 spots,
We closed a lot. I mean, at one point we were like 22 globally. Yeah. We're down to 12. I think it's probably enough.
Okay.
We have, you know, the plan is over time, Row on 5 in London, which I'll spend predominantly of my time, and then Row on 45 in Dubai, our 2 Michelin-star restaurant, which got it in 6 months, which we're deeply honoured. I'll be spending a lot of my time between Dubai and London, working on those 2 projects. We won't do too much more because I really want to cook.
Dubai seems like the happening place right now.
Yeah.
Right? Is it buzzier than London in the restaurant scene?
Yeah. I mean, it's hitting the point. I think it's going to hit saturation point. A lot of people go thinking the streets are paved with gold, a little bit like London was 10 years ago. And you've got to really work at it. I worked really hard, tirelessly, to be part of the local community, to get the customers to support us. I spent a lot of time in Dubai making sure that our cuisine, our service standards were on point. And it worked, you know, it worked. And I think that's the key to everything at the moment. If you give your guests a good time, great service standards, great food, they will come back.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on the new opening. Jason Atherton, their chef and restaurateur.